Gaming Bolt presents 15 things you need to know before you buy Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. The Lost Legacy originally started life as an Uncharted 4 DLC, but over time it has become a separate entity in and of itself, now being tagged as a standalone entry in the series. We would have been pumped for it either way, but the more we see of it, the more excited we become. The Lost Legacy is going to be the first time that players won't be playing as Nathan Drake, but even so, what we've seen of the game, not to mention the inherent trust people seem to have for the talent of Naughty Dog, has all of us incredibly excited. Here in this feature, we're going to look at 15 of the most interesting talking points of Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. If you aren't pumped already, you're definitely going to be soon. More than 10 hours long. The Lost Legacy was originally supposed to be a short, single-player DLC for Uncharted 4, but over the course of its development, it has grown in scope and stature. The game is now a completely separate, standalone story, and as such, Naughty Dog have claimed that it's going to be around 10 hours long, if not more. Add to that the fact that The Lost Legacy will also give players access to Uncharted 4's online multiplayer, and you can be sure that it will have plenty of content to keep players entertained. More stealth-oriented. Chloe Frazer is the star of The Lost Legacy, and seeing as she's not the bombastic, guns-blazing, over-the-top personality that Nathan Drake is, it makes sense that Naughty Dog are going for a more stealth-oriented approach to the action. Sure, Chloe is a rogue, but she's a proper thief, and considering that, it follows that the game design will also be altered a little bit to suit her. Uncharted 4 already placed a larger focus on stealth and sneaking than any game in the series has ever done before, and you can expect that area of the game to be expanded upon in The Lost Legacy. Lockpicking. Keeping in line with the character of Chloe and the more sneaking-centric approach to the gameplay, The Lost Legacy is going to introduce new elements to the gameplay of Uncharted. One of those new elements is lockpicking. In The Lost Legacy, players are going to have the ability to go past locked doors via more unconventional means. We don't know what the exact mechanics behind this feature will be, but we're definitely excited to see more of it. Silenced weapons. Another important feature that Naughty Dog are adding to the game to help players take a quieter, more measured approach while playing is silenced weapons. While in Uncharted 4, the only way to quietly take out an enemy was to sneak up behind them and use your melee attacks. The Lost Legacy will give you the option to stay in the shadows and take out your enemies from a distance with silenced weapons. It's an exciting proposition and one that should hopefully add completely new layers to the game's action. Larger focus on puzzles. Puzzles have been a staple of the Uncharted franchise ever since its inception in 2007, especially ones that involve parkour, and it seems like they are going to be more of a focus for Naughty Dog with The Lost Legacy, as the developers themselves have confirmed. It remains to be seen just how well designed they will be in the end, but looking at Naughty Dog's past records, we remain fairly optimistic. More driving sections. Remember the driving sections in Uncharted 4? What a pleasant surprise those were, and surprisingly enough, they played really well. Those are going to make a return in The Lost Legacy, and we're very, very excited about it. The parts where the game just allowed you to take a break from the action and drive around in lush environments were some of the best moments in Uncharted 4, and we're hoping The Lost Legacy will use them as effectively as its predecessor did. More open-ended level design. Uncharted 4 was a massive step forward for the series in so many ways, but one of the most significant things it did was that it managed to open up the level design of the series significantly. Even better, it did so while making sure that it didn't lose the intense, focused pace of the previous games. The Lost Legacy is going to take cues from its predecessors, and Naughty Dog are going to be experimenting even more with open-ended levels, with a lot more verticality to them. They have, in fact, stated that one of the levels in the game is the largest they have ever built for the Uncharted series. Classic set pieces. If you feel like The Lost Legacy is taking one too many cues from Uncharted 4, you're not exactly right. Uncharted 4 had some great set-piece moments, but the game was much more grounded experience than its predecessors. Remember the train from Uncharted 2, or the plane crash and the drowning ship from Uncharted 3. Naughty Dog have promised similar, over-the-top, ridiculous set pieces in The Lost Legacy. We can't wait to see what they have in store for us, and if they will be able to hold a candle to the Uncharted series' incredibly high standards in this area. Set 6 to 12 months after Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4 was the last game to star Nathan Drake, but the lives of everybody else around him will go on. Nadine Ross, one of the antagonists of Nate's last outing, is the closest connection we're going to have to that story. The Lost Legacy takes place a few months after the events of Uncharted 4. Since the events of A Thief's End, Nadine's private military company, Shoreline, has gone kaput, and so she's in search of other ways to make a living, opening the door for her partnership with Chloe. An uneasy alliance. Chloe and Nadine, though, aren't going to be the best of friends in The Lost Legacy, and we can expect to see a lot of entertaining back and forth and some interesting tension between the two characters. The way the characters interact with each other is always what makes the Uncharted games as great as they are, and this specific pairing of Nadine and Chloe has us very, very excited. Nadine is not a playable character. Just as Nate and Sam were the stars of Uncharted 4, Chloe and Nadine are the leading ladies of The Lost Legacy. Unlike Uncharted 4 though, which let players play as Sam Drake in some capacity, it looks like players will only be playing as Chloe in The Lost Legacy. Of course, Nadine has a large, major role in the game, but it remains to be seen if there are any short levels or sections that let us play as her. No Nathan Drake whatsoever. We already knew this, but Uncharted fans may have been hoping that Nathan Drake would appear in some capacity in The Lost Legacy. Maybe in a single scene as a cameo. He is, after all, a friend of Chloe's. However, The Lost Legacy is a story of Chloe and Nadine, and Nate's stories are finished as far as Naughty Dog are concerned, so don't expect to see him in any capacity in The Lost Legacy. What about some other characters, though? Charlie Cutter, for instance, seems like a likely appearance. We'll just have to wait and see. Naughty Dog's full attention. You'd think with a megaton like The Last of Us Part 2 also in development at Naughty Dog, they'd be forgiven for maybe focusing less on The Lost Legacy. It seems, though, that the vast majority of the team is currently focusing on the upcoming Uncharted title. Naughty Dog have assured fans that The Last of Us is not going to be their main project until such time that they're done with the upcoming Uncharted game, which means that currently over 200 of them are working on The Lost Legacy. PS4 Pro support. Seeing as Naughty Dog and Uncharted are both significantly important properties for Sony, it should come as no surprise that The Lost Legacy will be supporting the PS4 Pro. The game will support HDR and a dynamic 4K resolution for the system, and no checkerboarding has been mentioned by Naughty Dog, meaning that there's a high possibility that the game will run at native 4K. There's no word yet on what the frame rate for the game will be, so as of now, it's safe to assume that it will run at 30 frames per second. More to come. Uncharted 4 was supposed to be Naughty Dog's last Uncharted game when it came out last year. Obviously, that proved to be false, and Naughty Dog have now confirmed that there's a lot more stories to tell in the series even after The Lost Legacy. We can be sure that Nathan Drake will not be returning in any of the future games, but there's a lot of characters that can still have starring roles, from Sam to Sully, so expect to see more of Uncharted in the future. Considering how successful the franchise has been for Sony, this really shouldn't come as a surprise. And that'll be about it for this one. If you guys like what we're doing at Gaming Vault, please consider subscribing to our channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.